ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste, my dear friends. This is video number 32 on Viveka Chudamani of Adi Sankaracharya. Topic for this video is practice of knowledge. The disciple has come to a stage of purity and he is in a very assertive position and he is giving his views on Advaita Vedanta and discussing with his perceptor. This video starts with stanza number 501. नेमे देहेन संबंधो मेके नेव विहायस्य अतः कुतो मे तदर्वम जागृत सोपन सुसुप्तया. I have no relationship with the body, just as the clouds have no connection with the sky. So, how can the waking, dream, and deep sleep states, attributes of the body, ever affect me? I am not in the body, nor I am the body. Here I means the real self, not ego. The body is in me. I am other than the body. The relationship between it and me is similar to that between the sky and the clouds. The sky has nothing to do with the clouds. In its vast accommodation, it allows the clouds to remain. The properties of the clouds are not in the sky. When the clouds move, we do not say the sky is moving. Similarly, the nature and dharmas of the body can never affect me. I am consciousness. I am not the gross, subtle, and causal bodies whose dharmas are the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. Since they are not me, how can their dharmas be mine? In short, in Vedantic idiom, the last line indicates that in me there is neither non-apprehension of reality, sleep, nor misapprehensions, dream and waking. Stanza number 502. उपाधिरायाति स एव गच्छति स एव कर्माणि करोति मुक्ते स एव जीर्यन् म्रियते सदा अहम कुलाद्रि विनिश्चल एवं संसित. It is the conditioning which comes and that alone which goes. It performs actions and experiences their results. It alone decays and dies. I remain immovable like the Kula mountain. The coming into the body and going out of it is done by the mind and the intellect. It is the function of the subtle body. This coming and going happens in me, the pure consciousness, the upadhi, the BMI alone performs all actions, good, bad, or indifferent. It is the BMI which enjoys the fruits of actions. All these things happen in me, but I am like the Meru mountain without movement or change. Verse 503 ने मे प्रवृत्तिं च मे निवृत्तिः सदैक रूपस्य निरसक्ष्य एकात्मको यो निविडो निरंतरो व्योमेव पूर्णः स कथम नु चेष्टते. There is neither engaging in work nor abstaining from it. For me, who am always the same and without parts, how can that which is one, unbroken, and infinite, like the sky, ever strive? Engaging in work and cessation from it are both egocentric ideas. They are the engagements of the equipments. Since I am not in any way connected with the equipments, I am not doing anything good, nor am I doing anything bad. Being totally uninvolved in everything, existence alone is my nature. All things borrow my existence and dance around in me. I am existence in everything. Their differences are due to names and forms. Names and forms constitute the world. The world has existence. The world is not existence. Just as you have health, you are not health. Health is a condition of the body. The world minus names and forms is existence. This existence alone am I. Existence has no parts in it. It is homogeneous and uniform. It is eka rasa. That alone am I. I am one homogeneous mass of consciousness without any differences. Like space, I am infinite. For such an entity, how can there be any activity? It is a mythological concept repeatedly endorsed in the Vedas that the Meru mountain is the center of the universe around which all the solar systems revolve rhythmically. rhythmically. Thus, Meru is the motionless center around which all movements take place. Activity and retirement are possible only when there are parts to do the work and there is a field for activity. In space, that what can Mr. Space do? It cannot move even an inch since it is all pervading. If at all you see any work being done by me, you are not looking at me but the movements of my equipments. For in my infinitude, I am like the sky, all pervading. Verse 504 पुष्याणि पापानि निरिन्द्रियस्य निश्चेतसो निर्विकर्तो निराकर्ते कुतो मम अखंड सुखानुभूते ब्रूते हय्यनवागत नित्यपि श्रुतिः. How can there be merits and demerits for me who have no sense organs, no mind, who am without modification and form, who am the realization of absolute bliss, in the passage not touched, etc. Shruti also mentions this. How can I have punya and papa? Neither have I commission nor any omission. I am pure consciousness. How can one who has no sense organs and no mind, who is without modification and form, have merits and demerits? A blind man lying totally paralyzed cannot be accused of having kicked me on my nose. The first line of the verse is in the language of negation and explains what I am not and what I have now. My nature is positively the essence of unbroken bliss. How can I be accused of having merits and demerits? In support of his statement, Sankara quotes from Shruti, untouched by merit, untouched by sin. He is then in deep sleep, gone beyond all mental agitations. This is the description of the individual who is in the deep sleep state. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya, the teacher says, so while explaining the sleeper, in sleep, the individual is in deep ignorance, mula ajnana. On waking up, his desires will sprout again. So will his thoughts and actions, faithfully as the same species of his vasanas. When you are in the causal body, there is no sorrow. It is only in the realm of effect that there is sorrow. How can there be sorrow for the individual who has gone beyond his vasanas to Om? When you are in avidya, you are a potential punyavan or papi. But once you have gone beyond avidya into vidya, how can there be any merit or demerit? When the non-apprehension of reality has ended in its apprehension, how can there be any misapprehension? Verse number 505. छाया स्पृष्ट मुष्पणम वा शीतम वा सुष्ठु दुष्टु वा ने स्पृष्टयेव यत्किंचित पुरुषम तद्विलक्षणम. If the shadow of a man is touched by heat or cold, good or evil, it does not in the least affect the man who is other than his shadow. Heat or cold touching my shadow will not give me any sensation. When the shadow was being dragged along the road, it fell into the gutter, then it came onto the road and was run over by a car. The fate of my shadow is not my fate. Let the shadow be run over, crushed, bruised, and distorted. How shall it ever affect me? Not an iota of its tragedies and destinies will even touch me, for I am totally different from my shadow. Thus, the man of realization is untouched in his awakened consciousness by the experiences of the world that he apparently gathers during his waking, dream, and deep sleep states. Verse number 506. Ne sakshinam sakse dharma संस्पर्शन्ति विलक्षणम अविकार मुदासीनम ग्रह धर्मा प्रदीपवत. The witness is not affected by the properties of things observed, for it is distinct from them. It is without modification and indifferent, just as the properties of a room do not affect the lamp that illumines it. The properties of objects observed cannot affect the observer. If I observe a waterfall, I need not have a backache. The observer is other than the observed. The nature of the witness, Saksi, is changeless and indifferent. Avikram Udasinam. He is not involved in the activities. The nature and properties of the house do not affect the lamp which illumines them. In this house of flesh, I am the consciousness which illumines all its objects, emotions, and thoughts without being involved in any of their activities. The light in the house illumines all that is happening in the house. Bereavement or marriage, the fight between husband and wife, birth and death, the light illumines them faithfully. It is not affected by any of them. Similarly, the nature of the body, the sense organs, the mind, etc., can never affect the Atma who is the one illuminator. Stanza 507. रवेर यथा कर्मणि साक्षी भावो वन्ने यथा दहनी कत्वम रजो यथा रोपित वस्तु संग सथैव कुटस्थि चिदात्मनो मी. Just as the sun is the witness of all men's actions, just as fire burns everything without distinction, just as the rope is connected with a supreme position, so too am I, the unchangeable self, the essence of intelligence. You say how bright and cheerful the sun looks today. Actually, the sun is the same every day. Today you saw it as bright and cheerful because of the happy state of your mind. In the light of the sun, all activities take place. Therefore, the sun is said to be the witness of all activities, but it has no attachment with what it illumines. Unattached, it witnesses everything that happens. Unattached, fire burns all things that come in contact with it. If you know the law of fire, avoid it. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. The rope has no attachment with the snake that you see. Immutable, changeless, Chidatma am I. You may project anything upon me. I am unaffected by your projections. I am the pure conscious self. Stanza number 508. कर्तापि वा कार्यतापि नाहम् भोक्तापि वा भोज्यतापि नाहम् दृष्टापि वा दृश्यतापि नाहम् सोहम स्वयं ज्योतिर्निधृगात्मा. I am neither the doer nor do I make others do anything. I am neither the experiencer nor do I make others experience. I am neither the seer nor do I make others see. The self am I, self-luminous and transcendent. Just now it was pointed out that the shadow is not affected by heat or cold, good or evil. Even if the shadow is on a block of ice, one does not freeze. From the standpoint of the Atma, the transcendent reality is as independent of the individual as the individual is of his shadow. Therefore, the self can never get involved in the experiences of the world either directly or indirectly. To indicate that it is not involved in, not responsible for any of the activities of the world, the verse under commentary is given by Sankara. I perform no action, nor do I enjoy, nor do I see. Not only do these functions of the ego not belong to me, but I, the self, do not prompt others to act, enjoy, or see either. denying any direct involvement in the activities of the little ego. Sankara asserts the positive nature of the self and cries out, I am the self-effulgent, the transcendental self. Self-effulgent, Swam Jyoti, the self illumines everything alike, the objects, the sense organs, the mind, and the intellect. The question does not arise who illumines the self, because as pure consciousness, it is the source of all light. It is unborrowed light, transcendental, anidragatma, something which cannot be explained by comparison with things known, that is transcendental. Stanza number 509. चलुत्पादो प्रतिबिंलोल्य मोपाधिकम मूढ़धियो नियंति सौबिंबद्भूतम रवि दिव निष्क्रियम कर्तास्मि भोक्तास्मि हतोऽस्मि हेति. When the conditioning moves, fools attribute the resulting movement of the reflection to the object reflected, like the sun which is devoid of activity, and they cry out, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am being killed, alas. When the reflecting medium is disturbed, the reflection gets disturbed. If the sun is reflected in a bucket of water and the water is disturbed, the image is also disturbed. The sun is not disturbed. If anyone thinks the sun is moving, he is indeed a fool. If a child sees the image broken, he cries out, the sun is broken. When the child cries out for the moon, the mother generally gives him a mirror. He sees the moon reflected in it and is happy because he thinks he has the moon. He plays a while with the mirror and then drops it. It breaks and the child cries thinking the moon has broken. This is exactly our condition. When the body is ill, we say, I am ill. When the mind is a little agitated, we say, I am agitated. When the intellect is worried, we say, I am worried. I, the Atma, like the sun, am never involved in any of these activities. Fools, not knowing that all these are the play of the equipments, cry out, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the sufferer, I am dying, oh alas. Stanza number 510. Jale vapi satle vapi lut vesh jadatmak na hum vilippe tad me ghat mad nabho yatha. Whether in water or on land, let this inert body drop down. I am untouched by its properties, like the sky is untouched by the properties of the jar. This unnecessary weight of 75 kilos that I am carrying around with me, let it drop down anywhere. I am not involved or contaminated by its dharmas. Let it fall wherever or whenever it likes. The quicker the better. Just as the space is not contaminated by the properties of the pot, I am not conditioned by the dharmas of the physical body. I am the infinite reality. Stanza number 511. कृतृत्वे भोक्तृत्वे खलस्त मत्तता जड़त्वे बद्ध विमुक्तता बुद्धे विकल्पा नेतु संति वस्तुतः सौसीमं परे ब्रह्मणि केवल दवे. doership, enjoyership, cunning, drunkenness, dullness, bondage, and freedom. These passing states of the intellect are in reality never in the self, which is the supreme Brahma, absolute and non-dual. I am the illuminator of all intellectual concepts which are nothing but thought waves in me. Intellectual judgments, wise or otherwise, are all in me. I am but their illuminator. In point of fact, none of them really exist, for the nature of reality is pure infinite consciousness. Awake as I am to that reality, no intellectual concepts and judgments have any significance at all. Stanza number 512. संतु विकारः प्रकृते सदा सतधा सहस्रधा वापि किम मे संग चित्तर्तेन घनः कवचिदम्रम स्पृष्टि. Let there be modifications in Prakriti in 10, 100 or 1,000 ways. What I have unattached knowledge absolute got to do with them. The clouds can never touch the sky. Prakriti is the realm of matter which undergoes modifications at every moment. There are modifications at the physical, mental, and intellectual levels which do not affect me, for I am the substratum of all of them. Let there be changes in tens, hundreds, and thousands. I have nothing to do with them. I, the self, am unattached to the matter engulfment, so their changes do not affect me. As long as I am attached to the body, its changes are my changes, and so I suffer the consequent sorrows. When I am unattached, I am not affected by the changes taking place in that realm. For instance, as long as I am attached to the Bombay office, the worries of the Bombay office are my worries. The moment I am transferred to Pune and I hand over charge at Bombay, then the Bombay problems are no longer my problems. Similarly, before realization, I was attached to the body, and so I suffered the persecutions of the body. When I detach from it, its sorrows no longer affect me. Just as clouds come and go, but space is never affected by them. The pure consciousness in which, among other things, this body also exists, that consciousness am I, so I have nothing to do with the body. This is the sort of complete detachment and positive experience of the infinite eternal consciousness, the state of perfection to which the student has risen. Verse number 513. अव्यक्तादि सथूल पर्यंत में तत् विश्वम यत्रा भासु मात्रम प्रतीतम व्योम प्रख्याम सूक्ष्म दंत हीनम ब्रह्मा अद्वैतम यत देवा हम अस्मि. That in which the entire universe from the unmanifest down to the gross appears as but a shadow, which is like the sky, subtle and without beginning and end. Indeed, that non-dual Brahma am I. Till now the student was talking in terms of what he is not, in the negative language of our familiar experiences. But such statements we understand only half his views. Standing in the known, we can stretch our intellect into the unknown. So, a few verses are now given in positive language in which the student tries to say what he is. The wisdom of reality not known to us at the moment is pointed out where our intellect can make at least an attempt to stretch itself. Suppose I introduce myself to you and say, I am not my younger brother, I am not my sister either, etc. I cannot be satisfied with such an introduction because I have not said who I really am. But if I mention the name of a common acquaintance, you will perhaps know who am I. I am the nephew of Gopal Krishna's wife's cousin's uncle. Similarly, the student is somehow hooking his experience of the infinite to our known experiences. Whatever it is that I am, yat tat eva aham asmi, that nature of which is now explained that I am. From the unmanifest down to the grossest OET, everything is called Vishwa. The universe consists of the entire world, the equipments of experience and the objects of experience. This universe is only a projection rising out of imagination, abhas mantram. Brahma, the reality, is the substratum upon which all these imaginations are projected. That reality am I. That reality is infinite and all pervading. It is without beginning and end. Like space, it is extremely subtle. That great reality, that non dual Brahma am I. Stanza number 514. सर्वाधारं सर्ववस्तुप्रकाशं सर्वाकारं सर्वगं सर्वशून्यं नित्यं शुद्धं निश्चलं निर्विकल्पं ब्रह्मा अद्वैतं यत् देवाहमस्मि. That which is the sport of all, which is the illuminator of all things, which is of all forms, which is omnipresent, devoid of multiplicity, eternal, pure, motionless, and absolute. Indeed, that non-dual Brahma am I. Adhara means substratum, that without which things have no existence. The substratum for cloth is cotton, for the pot is mud, for the chain it is gold, for the universe it is Brahma. Verily it is Sarva Adhara, the illuminator of all, Sarva Vastu Prakasham. It illumines forms through the eyes, sounds through ears, smells through the nose, taste through the tongue, touch through the skin, feelings through the mind, and thoughts through the intellect. All forms are its own. It is the cause for this entire universe. The infinite in its grossification has become the stone life, the plant life, the animal life, and the human life. All forms that constitute the universe are its forms alone. It is all pervading, devoid of plurality. All these are but its expressions. It is eternal, unconditioned by time. It is pure, uncontaminated by the BMI, PFT, OET. It is motionless. Everything moves in it. It has no movement. It is absolute and is beyond all modification. This absolute factor, whatever it be, that am I. Stanza number 515. Yat pratyasta swesam maya vishesham प्रत्यय ग्रूपम प्रत्यया गम्ये मानम सत्य ज्ञान अनंतम आनंद स्वरूपम Brahma Advaitam Yat Deva Hamasmi, that which transcends the endless differentiations of Maya, which is the subjective essence in all, which is beyond the range of consciousness, which is of the nature of truth, knowledge, and endless bliss. Indeed, that non dual Brahma am I. All pluralistic misconceptions are the creations of Maya, Maya Partita Dvaita Bhavana. When reality is experienced subjectively, all these misconceptions and reality cannot be understood by properties. That which has properties can be understood through the BMI. If Atma is perceivable, it becomes an object of our cognition. Atma is the subject because of which we are able to cognize things. The essence in me because of which I know everything I know can never be an object. Eternal pure consciousness which is endless bliss is my nature. This is non-dual Brahma alone am I. Stanza number 516. Niskiryo samme vikarosmi, niskalo asmi, nirahakirti, nirvikalpo asmi, nitto asmi, niralambo asmi, nirdveh. I am devoid of activity, modifications, parts and forms. I am absolute and eternal with no other sport and non-dual am I. Till now, because of my identification with the BMI, the nature of the BMI was my nature. Now that I have realized the self, I have become of the nature of the self. My identification with Brahma has ended my identification with the matter vesture. I am the self from which they draw their nurture and nourishment and perform actions in the world. The self never acts. That non-dual Brahma alone am I. Stanza number 517. सर्वात्म को हम सर्वोहम सर्वा अतीतो हम दिव्य केवला अखंडो बोधो हम आनंदो अहम निरंतर. I am the universal, I am all in all, I am transcendent and non-dual, I am absolute unbroken knowledge, I am bliss and eternal am I. I am the one self everywhere, the universal I am. Names and forms are nothing but me. At the same time as the absolute I transcend them all. Unbroken, objectless awareness am I. There are no distinctions in me. The happiness that we know today is only an interval between consecutive sorrows. The bliss that we know is broken by the sequence of sorrows. Since there is no sorrow in that realm of experience, it is absolute unbroken bliss. That bliss is not within the ambit of relative experiences but is beyond them. That Brahma alone am I. Stanza number 518. सब राजा साम्राज्य विभूतिरेशा भवत भवतः कृपा श्री मही प्रसादात प्राप्ता मया श्री गुरुवे महात्मने नमो नमस्ते अस्तु पुनर्नमो अस्तु. By the supreme majesty of your grace I have gained the grandeur of the sovereignty of self-effulgence. O noble teacher, salutations to thee again and again. Sovereignty within one's own self is called Savrajya in Vedanta. Samrajya is mastery over the external world of objects. Freedom from inner persecutions is Savrajya. When the BMI are not under the control of the individual, he becomes as it were persecuted by himself. When the objects of the world tempt him, they make him run after them. He who is free from such persecutions is a samrat. The glory of mastery over one's self and that over the world around me has been gained by me by the grace of my teacher. By the sheer brilliance of his grace, I have gained the glory of Saurajya and Samrajya. O Guru, O great Mahatma, to thee my prostrations again and again. After pointing out his experience in the language of negation, the student asserts his absolute nature. Here he expresses his gratitude towards the teacher who guided him. Stanza number 519. महास्वप्ने मायाकृत जनी जरा मृत्यु गहने भ्रमंतम क्लिश्यंतम बहुल्त्रा परनो दिनम अहंकार व्याघ्र व्यथित मी मत्त यंत कृपया प्रबोध है प्रस्वत आत्म प्रमवित्तमानं मामसी गुरु. Out of sheer grace, O teacher, you have awakened me from sleep and saved me, who was roaming in a never ending dream in the forest of birth, decay, and death, created by illusion, and was tormented day after day by innumerable tribulations and greatly persecuted by the tiger of the ego. In the deepest caverns of this mighty dream called life, the concepts of birth, growth, decay, disease, old age, and death created by Maya afflict me day in and day out. I am confused, confounded, and deluded. I am choked by various persecutions. Thus I pass day after day. Let us take a typical example. I was born to my parents. I spent my childhood in my backyard. I went to school. In school, I was told I was no good at grammar, so I worked hard at grammar. Then they told me to study Shakespeare and Keats. When I started quoting Shakespeare and Keats, they told me I was only repeating and had no original thinking. Finally, I landed up as a clerk in a government office. Parents got me married in no time at all. There were two or three children. Government started family planning campaign. But there was one more by sheer accident. I was in Bombay where both hands never meet. Wife wanted the sari she had seen on the boss's wife at the party. Elder son wants college fees. Second son is doing class 5 for the third time. Third child always sick. Doctor's bills soaring high. Baby milk available only in black market. House has become a hell impossible to live in. All this is prompted by a ferocious tiger called ego sitting at the door. There seems no escape from this terrible agonizing dream. From all such dreams you have woken me, O Guru, to you my prostrations again and again. Stanza number 520. Namastasmai Sadak Kasmai Kasmai Chinnamase Namah Yadet Diva Rupen Rajate Guru Rajate. Salutations to you, O Prince, among teachers who are indefinable greatness, who are ever the same, who manifest as this entire universe. To you my salutations. That one infinite reality which is the same everywhere, which has come in the form of the Guru. To that my namaskara to you, O teacher, who revel in the form of the BMI OET Viswarupena, my prostrations. With this benediction, the student expresses his adoration to the teacher who has initiated him into the science of reality and its unforgettable experience. With this verse, this video is concluded. Next video number 33 on Viveka Chudamani of Adi Sankaracharya will start with the topic final words of advice, and it will start with stanza number 521. Thank you for watching this video. Namaskar, my dear friends. Thank you. Namaste.